Hey, everybody. Ooh, we've got some goodies for you today. Welcome to Impossible Live. Welcome back if you're returning. And if you are returning, then really today's guest needs not much of an introduction. But at any rate, for those of you who are joining us today for the first time, you are in for an amazing treat. And the amazing treat is and she laughs. Now, today I need you to know, Eve would say, Exquisite Eve, as I call her, would say, I messed up the color memo. Usually, Eve, Exquisite Eve, and I automatically dress in opposite colors. And I had a choice today between putting on black and white today or showing up a little more fluffed up. I chose the fluffed up. And I need you to notice that Exquisite Eve is in black and white because that is how we roll. What I love is having met this amazing woman in Susan McVeigh's dynamic group. And I mean dynamic group in the sense you'll love it. I'm so excited that my volume turned on. That meeting her in Susan McVeigh's group, I wasn't trusting of uh, online relationships yet. I wasn't sure of the place to show up, wasn't sure of the voice, wasn't sure of the vibe, wasn't sure of much. So the universe sent two amazing people. One was Exquisite Eve. I read her post and I'm like, she is Karan. How are you, beautiful? Thanks for joining us. I said, she's talking to me. She hears me, she sees me, and I love it because today's colors would have been a good example. We really do see a lot of the black and the white and the gray in today's world. But without further ado, I need to introduce you to one of the most magical, wonderful women I have had the pleasure of meeting and call her a dear friend. Sooner or later, we're going to meet in an airport and they're going to send air marshals because they're going to want to know what all the hubbub is. But I promise her, I'm going to greet her at an airport with big signs. It's just going to say the word Eve in one letter. She will know exactly where we are. But without further ado, I would like to give you a chance to hear about some of her magic, give her a little bit of the spotlight for a second, and welcome you to learn and explore amazing Exquisite Eve. Without further ado, dear friend, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me because I always excited to be on Mel's show to talk to all of you guys. And honestly speaking, I think our friendship feels like we know each other for a few thousand years at least. And I always will be supportive of Mel. And I'm so excited and I think very grateful that I am a part of your journey. I am a part of your community. And it's a pleasure and it's an honor. So it's one of the few people who I really trust. And I really hope that today you're going to learn something and something which will help you to grow your brand and build very successful business and maybe make new friends, build communities and stuff like that. Well, please come back.
I promise you I will come back. And as Eve would say, Exquisite Eve. And you'll know why I call her that. Really, you'll laugh because everybody on LinkedIn, they think your name is Exquisite Eve. So, and now we really can write it like that on LinkedIn and on other platforms. You'll see before I refer to her, every single time the word is exquisite is in front of her name. And one of the reasons why Eve is exquisite is Eve really is, she's behind our ability or my ability to appear occasionally as a magician or an alchemist. And those of you who've joined us for Event Alchemy understand the importance of that word, that ability to just show up and mix it up. And one of the things that Eve and Jonathan Howard taught me in Eve's amazing visibility gym was to remember to show up outside of safe communities. Because for some of us, the introverts, the ambiverts, the extroverts, the I'm new to be an entrepreneur, the oh my goodness, you gave me a microphone. What in the world am I supposed to do with it? Hey, Lachelle, how are you? Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. And Lachelle knows it well. We sometimes don't always feel comfortable. We don't always know our place. We can get creeped out. Somewhere on our YouTube, there's a video about that, about Adam's family, about what happens when we feel creepy. But Exquisite Eve is here to teach us about magic. So where are we going today, beautiful? And how quickly would we like to get there? Are we going the Star Wars version? Are we going express, or you taking us on slow levels on a beautiful ladder?
Let's do it conversational. That's what I would prefer because when you
Okay.
disappear, I feel like, oh my God, I'm alone on the screen. Oh my God. And, all old fears come back. And that's basically an interesting thing because I started my first visibility gym helping people to understand how the fears work. And nowadays, people who actually have education in neuroscience and stuff like this, they're like, oh, you are using an old version, which is no longer using neuroscience because neuroscience says the brain is one thing and you are still using trillion brain theory. And this theory is no longer accepted. And interestingly, the theory is accepted in behavioral science, but not accepted in neuroscience because basically the brain is one organ and it's not necessarily was evolutionary or something like that. Still, behavior is the same. So it made me feel that I personally grow a lot since the first visibility gym because I could never imagine somebody would discuss with me neuroscience and tell me like, no, 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 that's different. And I'm like, okay, you let's do that. I mean, I have no idea because since my first video, and I think since then, it's like more than 10 years. Yeah, that's correct. My first video, by the way, happened in between 13 to 14. So basically, it's like we can celebrate me doing videos online for like 10 years. So it's pretty interesting. Basically, when I started, I was like everybody else in a state. It was in 2009 and I was creative director. I had clients. I had successful career. I did work by that time in New Delhi, India, and I became international creative director. What else you want in advertising industry? This is the highest possible position. I did work with 500 Fortune companies. I did work with CEOs of the companies, and spoke to boards of directors. And I was like 30 something, pretty young. So,
You still
uh,
are. You still are. We won't let you get away with that. You still are.
so I thought that if I will start adding videos which are not perfect, all my clients will run away from me, honestly. And also, what I thought that I don't have proper background, I don't have proper tech, I don't have proper microphones, I don't have proper knowledge. My accent is terrible. I am fat, ugly, whatever kind of things about myself. Hair is wrong, that is wrong, everything is wrong. So that was a huge, huge internal dialogue conversation, which is most of you, if you're afraid of camera, probably familiar with. Yesterday, a friend of mine just told me, oh, I don't have fancy background. That's why I don't do videos. And until he started actually listing his story, I'm like, look, you really, really have everything is fine. This story I heard, and I heard the story in my head. I can guarantee you that that background, that camera, that microphone really doesn't matter at all. And I didn't do my first video for 4 years. Instead of doing that, I exactly did what all of you probably doing right now. So I bought 4 cameras, 3 microphones, or vice versa. I don't remember already. And, because I was improving, right? So I was buying new lights, I was taking courses, I was attending some places. The one thing I didn't do, I didn't take any videos, which is like, why to do videos if you want to run videos, right? So it doesn't make any sense. It's better to spend all of your money on tech or convincing yourself that you're a horrible looking person. So you actually need to go to gym, you know, to lose some weight, to make some new hair and stuff like that. So anything but video, right? So it felt pretty normal. And if somebody didn't catch it yet, I'm sarcastic right now. That's important. Not everybody will know.
She
Because,
has an
yeah,
amazing sense of humor and an
yeah.
amazing
Now
sense
I
of
doubt
humor.
that. If you need to explain it, you know, then I'm in a bad shape. So basically, saying is that if you're doing everything but video, that's a sign. That's a very big road sign, which is telling you go and do some video. So I'm here to tell you that that's a sign, and I am that sign for you. I'm the universe which telling you go and create some videos. Now there is another option of that, and I met it a lot with my potential clients because I talk a lot with people before they go for my program. So one of them told me that, well, I hate videos, but I'm comfortable with public speaking. So I'm going to create videos for my clients, but I really, really hate doing that. But I have no fear of camera, nothing like that. And while I was trying to explain, if you feel bad about your videos, you have blocks and fears and discomforts. I can guarantee you that. And definitely you need to work on it. With me or without me, it doesn't matter. But you need to work on these blocks because video is the only medium which helps you to show up in front of your clients and allow them to judge you based on your body language. And body language never lies. When people see that your eyes are like you don't look in a camera, you put your shoulders down, you're like, yeah, I want to sell you something really secret, and I will not tell you what. you know, if you do that, and many people do that, especially Jonathan loved to show how he show up on his first visibility gym. He was like showing up with a shoulder up in a baseball cap. It was amazing. So if you have any type of these fears, discomforts, or body language reveals all these fears, all you need to do is practice. And when you know how to practice your videos, it will help you to improve your confidence and to understand how to serve your clients better. Because clients know if you believe in your own program. So when you know what kind of offer you deliver, what kind of results your clients can get, how you help people, and you have crystal clear clarity on the idea how people get benefits from your product, you also need to believe in it internally and be able to show it. Otherwise, you create cognitive dissonance. So you show up like this, and then you offer people to sell, to buy something. And people think that you don't believe in your offer. Ultimately, you believe in your offer. You know your offer is amazing. You want to help millions of people, and you fully capable doing it. But because you're showing up like this, your voice, by the way, can tremble on audio as well. So the confidence is not only visual. So, I mean, if you hide from your clients in Clubhouse or something like this, be aware. It's all about confidence. So video is very effective tool. It's almost magic wand, not only to show up, but also to practice your confidence, also to practice your emotional intelligence, also to practice your storytelling skills and abilities. And this will benefit you in your offline meetings, on your discovery calls, on your course delivery. If you do some TikTok or Reels or YouTube, definitely it will benefit as well. More importantly, when people will see you, they will build these relationships with you before you go with them on discovery calls. And because of that, when you see them, you will have that celebrity effect. It was very brilliant discussion between Trevor Noah and his brother, because somebody in a restaurant meet with Trevor Noah, and it was a big fan. Oh my God! He literally jumped on his table and like wanted some autograph or something like this. And Trevor Noah was really, really annoyed with that, like really annoyed. And he was like, "Can you imagine?" to his brother. And his brother said, "Actually, that person is right, because he built relationships with you. He watch all of your gigs. He watch you on stage. He watch you on tele. He watch you everywhere. He already have relationships with you. He trusts you. He believe you. You make him laugh, probably. It's you, weirdo, who don't know him." And that's exactly the point. That, I mean, you're probably not Trevor Noah, so your clients will not see you that much. But, well, this is one of the ways how you build relationships with your clients. And if you use ads, they may see you more often. So when you know how create your emotions, how deliver this love through your emotional conversations, people will build relationships with you. Then on discovery calls, you just like, "Hey ho, like, okay, what would you like to buy from me?" They're like, this, and this, and that also. Easy.
You're going to love this because Jonathan, of course, and Andrea Dixon are joining us from Facebook on Illuminations groups. And Jonathan says several things. One, he says he's wearing light gray and blue, so he sort of matches Eve today. And Jonathan is really talking about how you know how to help us overcome these fears, and that
Thank you.
Jonathan also says he was terrified of video just 7 years ago, but not any longer, thanks to you. He says, go make that video and then post it. And in your description before, that you were imagining him in his first video. And Andrea is saying, thank you so much for your gems. So they're reminding me to shush a little bit more, and to keep letting you share your beautiful gems for us. If we are starting, and not from the perspective of feeling like we need to have all the perfect equipment in hand, or, I mean, I'm late to the plate of even discovering what a webcam was, and I have to thank Clarine Mitchell for suggesting that. And she showed me the difference between one of our lives that we did outdoors and what a live looked like indoors. The difference in the quality. And for those of us who sometimes are at the crossroads of, I don't know what my personal brand screams yet. And Jonathan has some amazing training on this. For those of you who are trying to develop your signature style, I promise to invite him in to share some of that magic soon. So you can also follow Jonathan Howard of Success on Social on
Totally
multiple
follow him.
platforms. Eve, where do we start when we get out of the rabbit trap about the equipment and how we look and how we feel, and how do how could you help what you have helped Jonathan and I redefine for ourselves in terms of how we show up is in your magic lane. How how do people create the magic if they're not sure where to start? How does that part happen?
Now, see, it's important to understand that first thing first, so really see the priorities, how things go to. So, one of my clients in branding, when we discussed video and we discussed some other things, like it was long time ago, like at the beginning, she said something very interesting. She said, "Look, I don't earn that much money yet, but once I earn every money in the world, then I will hire people and they will make videos for me. I will have the team and they will film and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, awesome. How do you feel to speak on, how do you like with camera, conversational style and things like this? She's like, "I'm fine." And that instantly signaled to me that, well, you need to learn how to build emotional connection first. So if you think that you need all the expensive equipment in the world, earn all the money in the world to hire people like Oprah to film you, because obviously you can't, work without Oprah interviewing you, then maybe you can start with your communication style. And that's actually give you an interesting leverage that you don't really need very expensive equipment if you have perfect skills. And that's a very interesting thing. So you need to see,
But wait. Perfect
Mhm.
skills. Now you're back
Not
in the
perfect.
neuroscience. So for the positive intelligence people and the mental fitness and the emotional intelligence people, you mentioned perfect skills. What in the world are perfect skills on video?
Perfect skills on video is ability to connect emotionally to people through the camera. So, for example, if you do public speaking on stage, there is a difference. Let's talk about the difference between public speaking on camera and public speaking on stage. Uh, That's interesting because I interviewed many people in my show, specifically public speakers, and they say that they themselves are afraid of speaking on camera. Some of them. So it's way
Mhm.
more scary because when you speak on stage, you have the feedback from people. And that's why you can build emotional connections by walking on a stage and say, "Hey, how are you doing today, Mr. So and so? So tell me the story." So you have this conversation with with public. And when I was speaking on Toastmasters, I remember I got feedback a few times, like, "Oh my God, you have amazing skills of talking to people and like all this kind of things." And in my mind, because I know how to do all of this, I actually forgot to build this, and I forgot it. And I remember in the middle of my speech, like, oh, I have people in front of me. I am going to talk to them. I need to do all of the things which all these amazing comedians do on a stage. And I did it because I have my video speaking skills and I could add internal dialogue, which was like, okay, you're not afraid, you're doing this kind of things. So actually, you train yourself to communicate and work with your fears. This is one of the myths which people say, that you can eliminate all the fears. You cannot eliminate all the fears. You can learn how to connect with your fears and connect to people when you speak. So, if you want to be vulnerable, by the way, you need to acknowledge fear. You need to acknowledge your emotional state. And this is when
Mhm.
you grow as a speaker, whether it's on stage, whether it's on camera. So perfect skills, perfect, nothing is perfect. It's actually build emotional connection, talk to people while those people are not in your room. So they don't see you. They see you via camera. They don't feel your warmth. They can't ask you directly. So they see you like through the camera and on, like, say, course. And they still feel this emotional connection because that's an interesting thing. First of all, emotional information is emotional. Visual information is way faster observed by the clients. It's like 95% or something like that than the verbal information. So when people see you, they emotionally already invested in the idea, do they want to work with you or not? Now, their brain, their neurocortex, involve later, and it says like, Okay, so you like that person, and you want to work with this person because of X, Y, Z. But when you already make this decision, you have no idea why you want to work with this person. So building this emotional connection, this is the most important skill. Now, your question was about equipment, and everybody hate me right now for this because I'm not answering equipment and I'm answering something completely else. And
It wasn't just the equipment. It was about your reference to perfect skills.
before that, you ask about equipment, I say nothing about that. I know it's wrong. I feel like people already like, oh my God, she's like going on that she knows and she doesn't know anything about equipment. And let me tell you this, and I'm not answering this because there is a reason for that. I did run commercial photo studio for several years, and I did make a lot of commercial photography. And I also recently created my first documentary, and I also study all this kind of things in Academy of Art and things like that. So you may, when I tell you all the things, you will be like, oh, but I don't have all the skills. So of course, of course you have all the skills and I don't. And like, actually, here's the thing. I probably have equipment which is cost like about 10K or something in home, maybe approximately, because equipment is getting older, so it's maybe cheaper right now. But the thing is, when I get to evacuation and I'm from Ukraine and now I temporarily live in London, I had to recreate my equipment and my ability to present on camera. And it took me some time because I could invest another some money to some crazy equipment, but I didn't have studio. I'm changing houses. It's a hell of a life. And I needed something which is more like for nomad kind of style life, which is super small and super flexible, and I can throw it anytime in case I need to move another country and I don't have opportunity like to take it with me. So and I'm greedy, I don't want to spend anything for super expensive equipment for no reason at all. So I created a list of equipment which I call expendable. So I have expensive equipment, which is for studios. If you want to grow up with that and like, you want to make some perfect videos for pro show, I don't know. So whatever your goals are, you obviously can buy a camera and like probably a red camera for super professional lights and yay. Hollywood will be super excited about you. But honestly speaking, you don't need it, especially when you start. At the moment, you can tell to people what kind of camera I use. Mel, tell
What's
them
camera use?
what camera I use at the moment.
Oh my goodness, this is a Jonathan question. And Jonathan, fortunately, has switched from Facebook to LinkedIn. He's on two different platforms. Jonathan, I have no idea what kind of equipment Eve has. I've watched how many visibility gyms where she told us. I have no. You are asking the non technical person. You could ask me,
I use my
okay,
phone.
that's
I
what
use my phone.
Jonathan, Jonathan,
Phone.
Jonathan, thank you,
I
love.
use my phone. I use my phone and I use Camera Studio, which is free, by the way. And you can use Camera Studio, connect your phone to your computer through Wi Fi, and you'll be able to use your phone. So, your phone has one of the best cameras you will ever find. It's better than any web camera because basically, I think the phone is like have like 50 megapixels or something like this. Camera Studio will slow it down, put it down. It has options to film on 4K. But when you stream, you actually don't need that super high level video. So even if you have super expensive camera, which actually film you on 8K or whatsoever kind of things, it's actually doesn't matter at all because during stream, it will all shrink and it won't show up at all. So your phone and Camera Studio will solve the problem and they will give you perfect camera. I'm using the back camera right now, by the way. Jonathan asking very good question. Front camera has lower quality. So I would recommend to use back camera in case you want, even if you use it on a lower resolution. So it's really interesting. Now, the next thing, I have beautiful microphone. I call it Ferrari of the microphones. And that was recommended to me by my really good friend. He's a podcaster. And because I have my own podcast, I messed up many of my videos and interviews. And that's when I invested in my microphone. Why? That's important. Statistically, people can watch crazy looking videos. They really don't care at all. But if the sound is bad, even a little bit, people will switch off. That's statistics. So audio is way more important for your videos, which is sounds crazy. But if you want to start and you want to invest, this is your first investment. You don't need to invest in this good microphone. You can use lapel microphone. You can use any type of microphone which is isolate sound well enough and make your voice sound clear. Personally, I don't recommend you to use any type of Wi-Fi microphones. From my personal experience, it can potentially create a lot of problem like background noise with your guests and stuff like this. Been there, done that. Terrible, terrible mistake, especially if you take interviews. So don't use Wi-Fi microphones if you not have to. Sometimes you have to do that if you are outdoors and you use Wi-Fi microphones with your phone. It is possible, but quality of Wi-Fi microphones is not that good. So try to do something wired. And what else? Your camera is done, your audio is done one way or another. Don't use microphone without the sound. I can share later in the comments my videos about the microphones, the review. If you want to hear the level of how your phone sound with microphone, how your phone sound without microphone, it's a very interesting comparison. So this is one thing. Now you all set with this. However, the light is also very important because, okay, let's keep people who don't care about your video. Some people are. So let's think about how you're supposed to look. Now, daylight is the best light ever. So if you simply sit in front of the window, that will solve all of your problems. That's the best light ever. No problem at all. You can use bone slide like with some foil or some other things, but we're not going to talk about this. We speak about this a lot in my Invisibility Gym and in my videos on my channel, so you can find all the information. But if you need artificial light, and I recommend you to have artificial light because it's way more controllable, and you don't have much money or you don't want to invest much money in it, you can buy a simple ring light. And remember one thing, the bigger source of light, the better the light. So if you bounce your light from the wall, you will have the biggest and most beautiful source of light, right? And then you can have an accentual light, which is this one in this case. And I'll show you this little simple light. Yay! So this is inexpensive and beautiful light, which is called, I think, Newable or something like this. It's somewhere within $20. It's beautiful light, which is inexpensive. And as you saw, it's very, very small. It's absolutely portable. You can take it with you when you are outdoors, even in the evening. And I absolutely recommend that light. I never recommended ring lights. When I created my portable set, I start using ring lights because they're bigger than this one. But the good part about this light, actually, they have slots to connect three lights together. And
Mm.
you can have really big light, like it will be $60 or something like this, but you will disassemble it and assemble it in a big light or smaller light. So definitely this version. So this is something new which I just share in my new expendable list. So this is really cool thing.
Where can
Now
we find this expendable list?
I will share that with you, with your guests separately. If they will
Okay.
subscribe for the webinar, which we're going to promote later, they will get it in one of the emails along with the webinar.
And
So
so your webinar name is this the right name for the webinar?
yes, the webinar name is Touch Hearts with Your Story. Use video to make your brand unforgettable. And in this webinar, we're talking about three elephants in the room. The first elephant is your self image. How you perceive yourself, that the way how people will believe you are. And this is something in your mind. This is what actually an essence of that, how you show up on camera or in person. Second one is how to overcome your fear of camera, fear of showing up. What is the background for all these fears? And the third part is about storytelling. So once you build up the skills, you also learn the hero journey storytelling a little bit. So all of this actually expand in Visibility Gym. But this webinar will give you a lot of food for thought, which you will be able to use if you are not ready to join Visibility Gym at the moment. So it's okay. You can practice and you can have tangible results within 21 or 63 days. And I'm not going to tell you why 21 or 63 days, just because I speak about this on Visibility Gym and it's a secret information.
I'm loving that. This is a very long link
Yeah.
to Eve's Touch Hearts with Your Story. Use video and make your brand unforgettable. On all the platforms that we are, you'll find a link underneath to click through. If you're watching this without sound, I want to encourage you to Google the touch hearts with your story, use video, and make your brand unforgettable. So for those of you who, as we know, many of you are listening silently while working or just chilling or multitasking and doing a zillion things. The thing I want to tell you though, before Eve glosses over Visibility Gym and the impact, is true game changer. Eve volunteered to show up and teach us out of the generosity of our heart in the beginning. And if it wasn't for Jonathan showing up and being the best accountability partner, and I need to tell you this from the perspective of somebody who now has gone live mm, over 100 times on LinkedIn, and probably now almost 200 to 300 times on different platforms. Our fears are real. We get stuck in them. I was stuck, and I finally, Eve will laugh. I told Eve and Jonathan I was stuck in the blue glare of my glasses. Now, after all this time of going live, I now have anti glare glasses, but I got stuck in that analysis paralysis of the glow and the blue. We all get stuck somewhere, whether it's your throat chakras not letting your voice out, you're not really sure what to say, you're not really sure that anybody cares to listen. And I want to thank you, our amazing Impossible Live Village, those of you who've been watching silently for over 18 months. And I will not name you, but I want to thank you for sharing. We all get stuck in our fear. We all get stuck in our heads. We're all getting stuck in something, whether it's as a mental fitness through positive intelligence coach, whether before that go live button was in red, really intimidating for me. Now I know, as Eve and Jonathan have taught me, take a big sip and just hit the go live button and know that you are on the other end to welcome, to share fantastic energy, to let us know what you need and what you appreciate. And the thing that I laugh is Eve was talking to me in a visibility gym about an emotional wisdom. I had no idea what in the world Eve was talking about. Then the pandemic taught me an extended season of gratitude, grief, and growth. We don't know that our stories are important. Jonathan and I did a live on this. We're not sure our voices are important. You're not sure maybe how to differentiate yourself in really crowded markets. Let me tell you, beautiful, exquisite Eve has the answers. So let me let you get back to her before Eve will say, Mel, we are done for today. Where will we return to next? So, Eve, for your webinar, and I'm delighted because during last year's webinar, I had the amazing opportunity to meet exquisite Dell Jones. And Dell and I were, we picked this wonderful woman's brains during one of her webinars, and I actually fell in love with Dell. So the webinar taught me I couldn't hear my story. Dell would say back what she heard. Dell, I think, couldn't hear what she was saying. I would say back what I heard. We we taught each other that part of the video, part of the communication, there was a reflection element. And that part of Eve's getting past your fears, we're showing each other this is how it works. So thank you, Exquisite Eve, for that beautiful gift.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, I can speak about this like years and years and years and like never stop. So that's good that we can stop occasionally to speak about this topic. Thing is, I just want to summarize the idea of why video is a magic wand for your brand. Imagine this, that as a personal brand, and personal brand is a most flexible part of your brand. So people many times told me, because I've been in branding for over 20 years, right? So I had a lot of conversations. People told me many, many times that I don't want to build a brand or I don't want to build a fixed business because it will limit my freedom. And for many of us entrepreneurs, coaches, experts, it's always the pivotal idea of us doing anything in life, the freedom, ability to be ourselves, ability to make choices every time we want to do it, not when somebody else says something. And I have to tell you that when we build personal brand, it's all very flexible because it's set in your values, in that who you really are. And people connect with you via your story. They see themselves in your story. They see who you are and they're like, oh, she's here. I want to be there as well. I want to be like you. I want to be in that area where you achieve, because their dreams are in that area where you are at the moment. They want to be probably successful, or they want to feel comfortable on camera, or they want to build some business, or they want to have like family or lifestyle which you have. So, depending on your area of expertise, your clients potentially want something which you are talking about, what you're showing them through your videos. So, you tell people your story, and more importantly, when you show people your story, people connect with you with the speed of light, because they connect with you genuinely. When you learn how to show up absolutely authentically, when you learn how to show up as you are, with all your imperfection, with all your talents, with all your jokes, which I told to everybody, I'm extremely boring person. And people are like, no, you're not. And I'm like, you are really good people. I mean, I know myself. I am boring. And boring is actually a compliment, because I usually say like, oh my God, that person is genuinely boring. I love it. So this is a compliment, because I think that people who meticulously do something and they can speak about the subject years, hours, nonstop, and nobody can stop them. They're very, very interesting people sometimes. We can consider they're not entertaining, but they are really interesting because they love what they do. Now, add to this a skill which help you to actually speak up and show the emotions, not just do, very boring kind of conversation, but also emotions, also the story element, also dreams, also fears. And that make that boring person who is obsessed with that specific subject, with this specific idea, into magical person who is attractive, who is confident and amazing, and grab people's attention and just lead them to their product without any persuasion, without any salesy tactics, without any icky kind of strategies which are plenty online. All you need to be is just really genuinely believe that you are a magnet for your ideal clients and you are here to help. Because when you don't think about your business like, this is my business, I'm making money with this. No, you think about how you help people. You think about how they will benefit from that, what you give them. You think about their results way more than about your results in a way. And this is when you become extremely attractive. This is when you become millionaire, but almost like millionaire by accident, because people attracted to that what you do, and you have skills and ability to show up genuinely as you are. So that's pretty much the message for you today.
Amazing messages. And Dell is the one who had the comment before that this training was perfect to get her in front of the camera for the very first time. And amazing Cheryl, welcome
Hi,
back. Thank
Cheryl.
you for joining us. Queen of summits, queen of summits, queen of events, queen of how to help, as Eve says, teaches us not just to share, but how to speak from a genuine place. People talk all the time about authenticity, and it is very important. But until we show up as us, really as us, people don't see us. And I think there's also, as Eve's mentioning, there's the confidence piece. People used to say years ago, fake it until you make it. And I wouldn't say fake it. I'd say there's something somewhere that you need to help you get started. Cheryl helped me get started way back before that very first I'm Possible Live. And I wasn't sure what I needed to start. In a conversation with Cheryl, she helped give me the confidence to start on a platform I wasn't necessarily comfortable on. What I also love are, and wait till Eve sees that, I have a group that we don't normally share often. And let's fix that. It's called Illuminations Groups for Talented Entrepreneurs. It's on Meta. It's a global community of people with great talents, great advice. You'll have a chance also to look back into the archives and see some of the deep, rich trainings from when, as Eve said, some of us started. And also, it's a cool place if you're just getting started and you're just looking for some support in a really safe setting. Because I think that's the part of what Eve's saying. The magic is taking it at your own pace. The wand is we think we have to be the one that waves it. We're not Tinkerbell. We're not, we're not the person who wields the wands. It's our audience, it's our listeners, it's the people who fall in love with your stories, who fall in love with you and say they're going to hire you before you know
Yes.
that they're ready to hire you. I had a conversation today with a wonderful upcoming guest, and I knew they had a lot of rich gems. And I said today, I love our conversations, and I really want to learn about your offers so that I can make sure we're sharing them. And that, as Eve would say, is how video is your brand's magic wand. Without it, wouldn't have developed, explored, reached out of our comfort zones. And Exquisite Eve, before we leave you, we are really telling you check out our webinar, touch hearts with your story, use video, and make your brand unforgettable. There'll be links below. Andrea, thank you for all your zillions of comments that Eve's going to have a chance to look at later, for letting us know this is what you needed to hear right now and today. And if you feel this is really calling to you, Eve's upcoming webinar does not require an investment. Visibility Gym does, because we have now helped her highlight how much amazing value is in it. But when you have a chance, please reach out to Exquisite Eve. If you're on LinkedIn, let's help her hit that thousand follower, uh,
Mhm.
that thousand follower button shortly. And let's help her create magic as she's helping us learn how video is our brand's magic wand. Before we leave, stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, stay in touch.
Thank you
And
so much.
thank you, beautiful. Have a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. Take great care and share this with
Bye.
someone who you can help, who Eve can help. Exquisite Eve. Thank you, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Take care, my dear. Take care, everyone. Have a magical, magical, magical day. Thank you so much for joining us.